Hello everybody, it's Dylan from Anime, and welcome to another My Hero Academia review. This time we will be reviewing Season 2, Episode 10, or Episode 23 of My Hero Academia, the fight between Midoriya and Todoroki to kick off the second round of the 1 vs. 1 Final 16 tournament, and I gotta tell you, this match was absolutely incredible. I cannot wait to talk to you guys about this down below. First of all, the ending came as a real shock to me because I really did not think Midoriya was going to lose. I didn't think there was much of a chance for him to lose, to be completely honest. But as we know, Todoroki pulls it out. Now, this was just such a good match because we go in, we know Todoroki, he's going to refuse to use half of his power, his dad's side, which is the fire side of his body. And Midoriya knows that, so all Todoroki's doing is just launching ice attacks. And I mean, let's be honest, even with half of his power, he's still considered to be a top 3 hero. You know, Bakugo and Midoriya probably are the other two that you would put in the top 3 consideration in the academy. And even the people in the audience at one point, or not the people in the audience, the professionals in the audience go like, damn, he's better than a lot of average pro heroes. Like, he's that good with half of his body. And so, you know, just because he's not using his dad's side doesn't mean he's a pushover by any means, and so he's launching these really vicious ice attacks, and Midoriya is countering them with his smashes, and he breaks a finger every time, and I gotta tell you, by the end of this match, I was just cringing, imagining the pain he was in. He just keeps breaking his fingers to, like, blow back the ice, and it's working, and eventually he uses his entire left arm to throw a punch to break up a really bad ice attack that Todoroki threw at him, and it's working. He's breaking up the ice, he's pushing Todoroki back, but Todoroki is forming an ice barrier behind him, and as Midoriya says at one point, you know, not only is he extremely strong, but he's very intuitive, he's very smart, and, you know, we knew this about Todoroki, and you could say the same about Bakugo and Midoriya, and that's probably why those three are the top of their class, because not only do they have really powerful quirks, but they're also intelligent. They're also good at reading, and I feel like you could say that about everyone in the academy, to be honest, in Class A at least. We just don't know enough about Class B and the other classes that, you know, the reason they are in Class A is because everyone not only has these really good quirks, but they're very good at just reading what's going on. They're very intelligent, and when you add that to the quirks that they have, I mean, it's just a very good combination, and you see these, you know, really great matches. And so Todoroki keeps, you know, forming the ice barrier behind him, so Midoriya's blows aren't really doing anything. And at one point, he starts using his already broken fingers. He starts using his already broken fingers to use those smashes, and the fingers, which, you know, when they're broken, they're colored like pink, become like a dark brown color just to show that they're really broken. I guess that's the only symbolism you can take. And there was one point where he couldn't form a fist because he was in so much pain, and obviously, you know, his fingers are broken, and he releases the smash by putting the thumb in his mouth and, like, releasing it that way. Just the amount of determination, and we knew this about Midoriya, but it just shocks me every time you see something like this. The amount of determination and willpower this kid has is absolutely insane, and it really is something to idolize. I mean, his entire hand is broken, and even with broken fingers, he's still, you know, firing on all cylinders at Todoroki, and Todoroki starts to become really worn down because all of these ice attacks start to freeze him, and as Midoriya and as Bakugo point out, you know, if he uses the fire side of his body, he can melt the ice and go back to 100%. And what eventually comes in the second half of this match is two people who are kind of just broken, throwing punches at each other, and Midoriya is landing a lot of hits. In fact, he lands, if his fingers were not broken, he lands some, you know, direct hit smashes that I thought when they landed, like, oh my god, Todoroki's done, he's gonna fly out of the arena, he can't use the ice to block him. And a lot of the times, it just wasn't strong enough to get him out, and I'm imagining that's because his arm was, you know, broken. You're not going to really be able to generate an insane amount of power when you're hitting with a broken arm. But they just, you know, the combat became very close combat instead of the far combat that we saw in the beginning. And two people that are just broken. Midoriya's left arm is entirely broken. All of his fingers are broken. And Todoroki is frozen over, so he can barely move. And his attacks aren't really as strong anymore, as said by, you know, people in the audience. Bakugo being one and the other, and Eraserhead being another. And at one point, Cementos and Midnight, the two, you know, the female judge and Cementos is the male judge, they're talking to each other with the headpieces, and they're like, I think we should cancel this match. I know Midoriya probably thinks that Recovery Girl can heal him, and while that's the case, these injuries might not be able to be healed in one go, and Eraserhead's just like, what the hell is even driving this kid? Or maybe Todoroki says that, and I'm trying to think the same thing. I'm like, and what seemed to be really driving him, more so than him wanting to become the #1 hero, which we already know is his motivation, and be like All Might, was to get Todoroki to not be afraid of his dad's side and to use his full power. And this was probably one of the most emotional, well-done scenes I've seen in all of anime, in all of TV, when Todoroki is being thrown back, and Midoriya is just screaming at him to use the left side of his body, and we see these horrifying flashbacks of what his childhood was like, and we got some amazing backstory behind Todoroki's character, where we see what he described to Midoriya a few episodes ago, where his mom said his left side was unsightly, and it wasn't like his mom was telling it to his face. He heard it in the hallway, and I guess his mom, horrified that he heard those remarks, just threw boiling water, and you can see, they didn't show that scene, thank God, but you can see the pot of boiling water on the oven, and they kind of zoom in on it, and the next thing you see is Todoroki I don't even know if he was in the hospital. He just had a Band-Aid over his left side of his face, and, Endeavor, his father, who's an absolute prick, is just like, oh man, on a big day too. Like, he's not even concerned for his son's well-being. He's just more upset that there was, like, maybe a tournament going on or training going on. That's at least what I got from the scene. And he's like, yeah, I put your mom in a mental hospital. And Todoroki clearly is infuriated at his dad, not his mom, because his mom was the only one who ever showed him any compassion. But he ends up remembering what his mom said to him, that, you can be a hero, and what All Might said to him through the TV, through a broadcast, that, All Might always says, I am here, because it doesn't matter where you got your quirk from, all that matters is how you use it, and how you define that quirk. And I think between Midoriya saying it, between those flashbacks, between those memories, Todoroki finally says, screw it, and he uses the fire side of his body, and he launches this crazy attack, and he says to Midoriya, thank you, and Midoriya goes in full power as well, and Cementos and Midnight try to stop the match. Cementos builds up like these walls, and Midnight, I don't even know if we know her quirk. I don't remember if we know her quirk, but she tries to do something to stop it, and she gets blown back. The whole stadium almost gets, like, thrown out of the arena because of the power of this hit. So the hits land, the smoke clears, and I'm like, alright, Todoroki, we see Midoriya standing up, and I'm like, alright, Midoriya wins. They're going to show Todoroki, and he's going to be unconscious on the floor. Knockout. Midoriya collapses, and then I'm thinking, oh wow, I guess no decision maybe? But then they show Todoroki, and he's standing up, and Midoriya is out of bounds, so it doesn't even matter if Midoriya was able to stand or not, he's out of bounds. And Midnight announces Todoroki the winner, and my jaw dropped, because I really just did not see that coming at all. But that's something I love about this show. It's just unpredictable. And again, for someone like me who hasn't read the manga, I just did not know this was coming at all. But what's weird is Todoroki even looks stunned that he pulled off a win. So I don't know if there's more to that scene than meets the eye, but I guess we'll find out soon. Hopefully they'll show us, like, what actually happened in that smoke, because you wouldn't think Midoriya would have too much recoil from hitting a smash. So I don't know. But then again, I mean, Todoroki's launching this insanely highly powerful attack, so I guess it's just impossible to know. But an incredible fight, amazing backstory on Todoroki, just the best fight of the tournament by far. And it looks like in the next episode, Ida is gonna verse the green Ivy girl. I think he'll probably win that and verse Todoroki in the semifinals. We're gonna see the Bakugo match. We're gonna see Mina's match versus the Falcon. So those matches are gonna be cool. What's interesting to note about the preview is something seems to happen to Ida's brother, and I wonder if now we're maybe going to take a break from this tournament for a little bit after this episode. The semifinals might be put on hold, and we're going to see maybe a villain got to Todoroki's brother. I'm not quite sure, but I've waited for the villains, because while this season has been incredible, the villains were probably my favorite thing of season 1, and I want to see villains back. I want to see more villains. I want to know more about these villains' backstories, and I cannot wait. But right now, I can't complain. The show is going absolutely incredible. So let me know what you thought of this match. Let me know all your thoughts on My Hero Academia down below in the comment section. I will talk to you down there. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day.